Hello. Secretary Blinken is not the brightest of bulbs at the best of times. So I don't blame him for his rank lies and being taken in by the Islamists and Chauthi fail leftist propaganda. As far as his statement on religious minority discrimination in India is concerned, a statement that is based on wholly fraudulent US religious freedom report. As I see it, it has to be debunked immediately. And there are 5 points to this entire issue. Let me elaborate briefly on each. Number one, remember when President Obama came visiting in 2015 and told us off snootily inside our own parliament about human rights and persecution of religious minorities, and president to prime minister down, we remained silent? This, when during the Obama years there were 270,000 violent hate crimes in the US in 2012 alone, just 1 year. But we remained silent as he waxed eloquent about violence and human rights and Christians under attack, even though that whole narrative turned out to be totally fake. All church attacks were thefts and arson and robberies and nothing to do with communal hate. And way more temples had been similarly attacked and vandalized, and more churches had been vandalized during the UPA than during the NDA. Besides, Obama had also based his propaganda, like so many others, on a report by Washington Post journalist Rana Ayub that falsely blamed Hindus and RSS affiliates for the rape of a nun, even though the perpetrators turned out to be Bangladeshi Muslims. So we should have asked him about his lies back in 2015 and demanded an apology. But we let it go. And this only emboldens the liars and propagandists. A lesson not given is a lesson not learned. Two, what does the data tell you? Since 2017, there have been more than 210 documented instances of hate crime attacks, lynchings, attempted lynchings by Muslim mob on Hindus, Dalits and non-Dalits, including in Ranchi, where a Muslim mob segregated bus passengers based on their religion before wanting to set it on fire. Remember Bharat Yadav, who was lynched after being called a kafir? In town after town, Hindus are on the run. In Madhopur, Muslim mob assaulted Dalit women as their procession was playing music while passing by a mosque. In Tonk, Muslim mob pelted stones, attacked a Gujjar marriage procession with sharp-edged weapons. In Barabanki, a 45-strong Muslim mob assaulted Hindu religious procession with sticks, injuring 10. In Aligarh, in Merma, in Jharkhand, Muslim mobs disrupted Hindu religious processions at multiple places on Ram Navami, did snow pelting. Muslims lay down in front of Hanuman Jayanti Shobha Yatra to halt it. Forgotten all those hundreds of attacks? Or vandalizing a temple in Delhi while chanting Allahu Akbar and Nara Takbir? Or lynching Gangaram because he dared to file a police complaint while his daughter was abducted? Or going on an arson and murderous rampage in Bangalore over alleged blasphemy by a Dalit? Or breaking Ambedkar statue, running amok with swords, thrashing Dalit families after they objected to a Dalit girl, Sarita, being assaulted by a Muslim? Or nearly lynching a Dalit Jayant Bhati for daring to wear a Pathan suit, threatening to kill him if he wears it again? None of these incidents elicit a response or outrage from the cottage industry of activists and journalists who only highlight incidents where Muslims are the victims. Force-feeding beef, forced conversions, breaking temples, forced chanting of Islamic slogans, persecution and torture of Hindu school children for sporting Hindu religious symbols including bindi and kalava, lynching of Hindus for daring to marry a Muslim. The list is endless. Let me turn the situation around and expose this perfidious line of argument in a second. Let us say that the media only reports hate crime attacks on Hindus by Muslim mobs and carries on the selective reporting for 10 years. Only Muslim mob attack on Hindus. I ask you, what will be your impression about India then? Yes, that only Hindus are being targeted by Muslims here, while the truth is that hate crime attacks are not the exclusive preserve of any one particular religious community. See what I mean? Selectivity seeds propaganda. So when the media ignores hundreds of Hindu victims of Muslim mob hate crimes, no wonder the agenda-driven leaders pick this up. And it is another matter that in this country a Dalit killed by a Muslim is considered a suicide, not murder. But if it was the other way around, it would not only be a murder of the victim, but also of democracy. This is how propagandists have twisted the narrative. While Jai Meme is unconditional, Jai Bhim is conditional upon the perpetrator not being a meme. We have seen this play out almost every day since 2014 by these gangrenous selectivists who claim they speak truth to power, but power to them is always Modi, never Didi, never Kejriwal, never Stalin, never Pinarayi Vijayan. Even when hate crimes happen in non-BJP ruled states, then it is not speaking truth to power. And when the victim is a Hindu, the media starts to cover up the communal angle. So what qualifies as a communal hate crime has now been reduced to media's judgment. Killer didn't know the victim was a kafir. Or are you going to demarcate his ire into religion and non-religion components? Take the case of Palghar. The ready identification of a saffron-clad sadhu is not enough. What if instead the victim was a skull-cap wearing sherwani-clad bearded Maulana brought out by the UP police and gifted to the lynchers with a BJP minister looking on? Would the media still have maintained it as a non-communal crime? Hell no. You cannot cure these propagandists. They are like the Rakt Beej. Their every drop of blood spawns more of the same. So we know how akhlaq was. But do we know who was Banu or Khitaram Bhil or Savant Rathod or Vidhu Jain or Ayub or Fayuk or Bharat or Farooq? By now Indians have seen through their propaganda, even though Americans may not have, or perhaps they don't want to. 3. Once rebutted on their shameless selectivity, these chauthi fail Islamists and leftists quickly turn to this new trope of mainstreaming of violence. And here they say the ruling dispensation is mainstreaming violence. But here again, the communal bigotry by politicians that I, by the way, condemn across the board, and when it is done by every politician or leader cutting across party lines. But these fake activists and usual suspects in the media only highlight the cases selectively. They never outrage on the BSP selecting as a candidate a man who offered 51 crores to anyone who beheaded Charlie Hebdo journalists. Or when Mehbooba Mufti selects a rape accused as a candidate or condoles the death of Wani the terrorist. Or when the rape accused bishop is welcomed on the streets of Jalandhar by church officials and believers. Or when the ex-vice president Ansari presents an award to the PFI terror chief. Or when a Congress MLA says he won't work for Dalits as they didn't vote for him. Or when Congress Harish Rawat says those who kill a cow have no right to live in India. Or when an SP legislator slaps a woman entering Haji Ali. Or when Congress legislators demand hanging of Kamlesh Tiwari. Or when Yasin Malik is celebrated by Manmohan Singh. Or when Congress leader Nillai Kannan laments why Modi and Shah have not been killed yet. Or when CM Stalin felicitates the man convicted in Rajiv Gandhi assassination. Or when tens of thousands collect for funerals of terrorists like Yaqub Memem and Burhan Wani. Or when sitting MLA Tahir Hussain leads a mob and says, teach a lesson to these kafirs. Or when sitting legislatures go and pray at the grave of genocidal monster Aurangzeb. Then it is not mainstreaming of violence. मैं करूं तो रास लीला, तुम करो तो character ढीला. In 2013, 5 Dalits were raped every day. Crime rate against Dalits in Kerala is higher than even the national figure according to NCRB. There was a 17% increase in crimes against Dalits under UPA too. So the crime increased, but intolerance did not. Was Manmohan Singh mainstreaming violence? Mainstreaming violence, you say. The essence of Azan, which is, quote, there is no God but Allah, and no one has the right to be worshipped but Allah 4062. Amplified through the loudspeaker 5 times a day, whole year round, near a temple, is not provocative. But celebrating Ram Navami and singing Bhajman Ramcharan Sukhdai one day in a year near a mosque is. Or when Muslim leaders make incendiary Hindu-phobic speeches as we saw during the anti-CA illegal blockades. These leaders and pretend intellectuals allow themselves to become dog whistlers. And a part of this magical mystery tour made up of motley crew of religious fanatics, zombies and Modi haters, including the photoshopping extremist hack who cautions Muslims to strategize and stay secular until they obtain majority. A deranged writer who thinks Rafale is an aircraft carrier. A washed up actor who blames Modi for the crimes of Mamata. A bigot stand-up who jokes on Godhra train burning but soils his pajamas when it comes to making fun of his own religion. A kitty party journalist who says she doesn't advocate Indian rule in Kashmir. A screechy RJ, out of work, unemployable, who demands equal rights for women as long as the women are not Muslim. Together, these fundamentalists proceed from one conference to next, one platform to another, spreading their hate and propaganda. You can't stop them. That's what they're meant to do. You can only expose them. Mainstreaming violence, they say, sure. I wholeheartedly condemn Himanta Biswa Sarna for saying polytheists, i.e. Hindus, are the worst of creatures 98.6. We will drive the disbelievers into a fire 456. Do not marry polytheists 2.221. Refuge of a disbeliever is hell 973. Allah has readied a blaze for disbelievers 3364. Yes. 4. Look, it is high time we talked of real discrimination. Tell me, is it discrimination against Muslims or against Hindus when Ram Navami, Hanuman Jayanti, Durga Puja processions, even Garba celebrations are attacked and stoned with impunity? Is it discrimination against Muslims or against Hindus when Muslims are shouting from mosques that they will behead Nupur and all those who oppose Azan Hijab? Or when Muslims are pouring onto streets demanding beheading of Kajal Hindustani, or when Muslims are gathering in their thousands for the funeral of terrorist Yaqub Memon? Or when Muslims are rioting on the streets because someone's Facebook post said Aurangzeb was a mass murderer? Is it discrimination against Muslims or against Hindus when a sitting Prime Minister says minorities have the first claim to resources? Is it discrimination against Muslims when Kashmiri Hindus are forced to be refugees in their own land, where one can settle 40,000 Rohingya Muslims but not 7 lakh Kashmiri Hindus, the land's original inhabitants? Where the judiciary says it's too late to prosecute those who raped, murdered, ethnically cleansed lakhs of Hindus? Is it discrimination against Muslims when Hindu temples are exclusively controlled by the state? When Hindus have to beg for Waqf land to celebrate their festival while the government usurps hundreds of thousands of acres of temple land and is responsible for more than 100,000 temples losing lakhs of crores in rental income? Is it discrimination against Muslims that the RTE Act discriminates only against Hindus and their schools, forcing tens of thousands of them to shut down? Is it discrimination against Muslims when a law was about to be enacted where only the Hindus would have been held guilty in a communal riot, even if they were in a minority, for example, in Kashmir? Is it discrimination against Muslims? Court judgments and legislative enact purport to reform only Hindu religious practices, but dare not touch practices of other religion. Is it discrimination against Muslims when the Places of Worship Act continues to deny Hindus their legitimate right to correct historical injustices and reclaim thousands of demolished temples? Is it discrimination against Muslims when the Waqf Act gives overarching power to Muslims to declare a 1500-year-old temple to be on Islamic land when Islam is only 1300 years old? So who is the real victim? Who? Finally, 5. When people accuse Modi of not doing anything for minorities and ignoring their plight, honestly, I smirk at their lack of intelligence and logic. अपनी report card check कर लो भाई. चौथी fail नहीं हो, तुम तो तीसरी fail हो. Because the truth is the exact opposite. Fact is, the Congress is a master at deception, while the BJP is a disaster at perception. Here is the hard data. Minorities before 2014, 20,000 skilled trained, 5% with government jobs, 3 crore scholarships, 70% girls' school dropout rate. Minorities after 2014, 2 million skilled trained, 10% with government jobs, 5 crore scholarships, free UPSC coaching, 30% girls' school dropout rate. In fact, Modi has given scholarships to more Muslims than Manmohan Singh did. Has Modi reduced AMU funding? No, in fact, he has increased it, including a 90 crore topping up. While our Muslim population is 14.2%, as many as 31.3% of homes under Awas Yojana, 33% of funds under Kisan Samman Nidhi, 36% beneficiaries under Mudra Yojana have been Muslims. Pradhan Mantri Shadi Shagun scheme, exclusively for Muslims girls who complete their education, graduation before marriage. They will get rupees 51,000, no questions asked. Housing, skilling, scholarships, government job. No other Prime Minister has comparatively done more for Muslims than Modi. On the other hand, let us now look at the condition of Muslims in a state that has never been ruled by the BJP and whose present and past chief ministers have gone out of the way to appease Muslims. Bengal. In Bengal, Muslims are poorer than any other community, with their population growing twice the rate of Hindus. According to the periodic labor force survey, only 13% Bengali Muslims have regular salaried jobs. Figure for India is 22.1%. 35% Bengali Muslims work as casual laborers. Figure for India is 24%. Muslims in Bengal earn 27 to 40% lower than Muslims in the rest of India. Muslims make up 30% of Bengal population, but only 7% of all university and college teachers in Bengal are Muslims. And if you discount madrasas, the figure is even more minuscule. Literacy rate of Muslims is 7% lower than state average. This is after 40 years of non-BJP rules, after 40 years of rule by those who claim to work for them. Another example of discrimination is the Disturbed Areas Act, where a Muslim is forced to live in Muslim ghettos and not mix. And who brought in this as a law? Yes, the Congress. But look at Muslims in BJP-ruled Gujarat. Their rural per capita income is higher than Hindus. They occupy same percentage of higher government posts as their population share. This is from the Satcha report. Their literacy rate is 6% higher than the national average. Muslims need to open their eyes and see Modi as a friend, not an enemy. Problem is, Hindus also need to open their eyes and see that they are being actively discriminated against at all levels. So there you have it. I have now exposed Blinken and these Yanks more than that drunk streaker did himself at Lord's. I hope better sense prevails and he sees the truth. But to do that, he'll have to stop reading New York Times and Washington Post. Would he do that? I doubt it. But then again, maybe he wants to read articles written by Modi in these newspapers. क्या करें बाबू भैया, सभी के घर शीशे के हैं.